Hi. Fresh.
Hello.
G'day.
Goedemiddag.
Konnichiwa.
Namaste.
Hello. Test. Ni hao.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Privet.
Hello.
Hola. Buongiorno.
Hello.
Baroque music is a gift to the world of music education. It embodies dance, community, improvisation. It has rhythmic continuity and solidity. It has very easy to discern harmonic sequences and patterns, and it expresses joyousness and drama in equal measures. So I strongly believe that even though many of us do learn little bits of Baroque music when we're starting out, there are so many things that we have to learn from the energetic and revolutionary advancements in Baroque interpretation that have happened over the last several decades. Our main core piece of music is going to be the La Folia, which was originally written by the virtuoso violinist Corelli, and will be predominantly focusing on Italy within the Baroque era. So we are going to delve straight into the first of two performances that we're going to share with you during this video. Now here we worked with over 250 students and adult players, many of whom were experiencing the challenges and difficulties of playing at the pitch 415 for the first time. So here is an abridged version of Geminiani's arrangement of Corelli's La Folia. So I am unbelievably excited to be participating in and kicking off these Baroque sessions. This is something that I've had a long belief should be a far more integral part of everyone's musical education.
It's really nice to see you all, and if you are watching this recording back, welcome from the past.
We as the bass players, we are the most important. I should keep that quiet and say that in the breakout room, but we are the most important element of this music.
But I actually mean letting the sound waft and breathe and express itself in the bow itself. And if you're always relying on your left hand, you'll never get the chance to explore your right hand.
So first of all, I'm going to ask the other David, also known as Hairy Dave, to unmute himself. And can you tell us your name, instrument and location, please?
Hello, I'm Hairy David Watkin, and my instrument is cello, and I'm in Glasgow.
How much diversity and colour and fire and excitement. It's all of those extremes that we're feeling from the music.
You're all seeing it from different points of view. Crimson, yellow, blue, red. Yes, plum. I like that one. Very nice.
And we got, dark silky red with gold embroidery.
Music before Baroque music was that you could have a piece that was 10 minutes long and it would only have the words Ave Maria, whereas in the Baroque period it's suddenly like there's a note for every word or every syllable.
You know, singing wasn't
invented after the Baroque era. It's very much part of the expression.
Talking about people like Vivaldi, talking about people like Corelli, and we thinking of them as these great composers that are established in the history of music. But in their time, they're violinists. They're doing gigs, and they have a theme, and they're going to improvise variations on them.
In the Baroque times, it was part and parcel of what you did. Bach improvised, Beethoven improvised, not even in Baroque times.
Everything, all the notes that we are reading are essentially improvisation just written down by a composer.
We didn't want to play everything the same. We wanted to find the variety in life. We wanted to find reasons to make some of these harmonies really scrunchy.
Are we just going to get the dots, print them off the internet or buy them in a shop, put them on the stand and play them? Or does our playing come from a broader base of understanding?
The start of our piece. Now I want you to think, as you're playing these long notes, think about creating a really fat, concentrated sound.
Do you remember what somebody said? The difference between French Baroque music and Italian Baroque music. Does anyone remember the difference?
I'd like you to think of the home key as D minor, and when you return home, you want that sense of peace and comfort and relaxation.
But you see, the show goes on, doesn't it?
You're going to go like that and make your arms straight, and then you're going to try and catch the pen or pencil like that. Yes, I did it first time. Go! Very good, fantastic.
And then the lute was also related to a Middle Eastern Mediterranean tradition of the oud, which still exists now, and became this family of instruments with very round backs played with your hand.
I like to do a thing that my yoga teacher calls swaying palm tree. So just sway from side to side. If you can do it with both arms, it's great. Got my bass, so we'll do it together.
I love it! Baroque music is always about dancing. And if we're standing still, it's so boring. And I really honestly think that it sounds better when we move.
Studying this style of music, I finally found my voice as a classical musician.
My favorite thing about the Baroque sessions was that finally my teachers didn't try to correct my high bow hold.
We're gonna just start off in our normal position and then just travel up a little bit and just feel how different the weight of the bow feels. Some people are looking really happy holding the bow in this place.
Where you see it's much shorter. And the reason for that, that's the shortest one. It's really short. And the reason for that is that music in the 17th century worked with a lot of fast notes. It didn't work with long singing lines. It worked with fast speaking lines.
It's also like writing with a pen, that the pen is like an extension of your fingers. So the bow is an extension of your arm in your connection with the strings. So I'm going to take that a step further with the left hand, and I'm going to say that my connection with the harmony is through the little ears I've got on my fingertips. Can you see them?
But before that, everything was individual. Even the individual press of a book, each page was printed separately on its plate. Most things were made by hand. I love the fact that those things were all different. And for me, that's what Baroque music is like. And it's both like that on the page, on the notation, the ideas the composer has thrown into the air, but as performers, it's our job to catch these ideas and then do something with them for ourselves.
the rhythm can be a kind of ornamentation. We talk about ornamentation and improvisation as if they're very fancy and very complicated things that involve having brilliant ideas. And the truth is, nobody has brilliant ideas all the time. So you have to lay a foundation for them. And repeating notes is the first brilliant idea.
So keep experimenting with it and see what you can come up with. Now, I finished on that note there. And it reminded me of another bass line.
It can get pretty wild. So it's much more passionate and impulsive music, I think, much freer.
What we have to do then, coming back to that, is trying to imagine his choices of these variations and where they come from. What is the idea of doing a variation in the first place? You know, where does it come from? It's very interesting looking into what Corelli writes like, what his other melodies are like, what the other sonatas are like.
And I really want you to be as creative as you can, as you dare to. And if you want references, you can use some of the material that you played when you learn this piece. When you learn the La Folia and the part that you played, just you can embellish, you can add to it. That's all Geminiani and Corelli and the Ayoub Sisters, anyone who's touched this work, that's all they've done. They found a wonderful theme and then just came up with variations and improvisations based on it, but wrote them down.
I'd like you to think of these as different voices. So imagine a little conversation happening. This.
How could you make a ferocious sound with your pizzicato? 2, 3, 4.
Or like Rachel's crocodile's bitten you. So that's how you get really short notes, and then you're using your whole bow. So you want to sound like pizzicato. So how quickly can you do that?
It's the ancestor of the piano, basically. Get a top line with Kati and Nicola, and David and I would be on the bass line and create, as in jazz music, would create the texture that goes. And basically composers, if you think of Geminiani, all he had was... So that's the bass of Folia. And over those basses, there are so many possibilities, as you can see here. So on the top line.
I loved how Harry Dave made up variations to the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I loved seeing the big fat fuel bows with the really long sticks. I loved dancing and doing improvisation.
Hi guys, my name is Imogen. I'm going to be leading you in Baroque dance for the next 3 weeks. We're going to be teaching you through dance tutorials, teaching you the choreography and some basic steps. We're going to have 3 live dance sessions where we're going to move, dance, shake.
We're going to start by shaking all the nerves we might have, all the excitement we might have for moving. We leave our hands are clasped together and we are imagining we are in with the balls and the king. So we're going our pas de bourrées. 1, 2, 3, down, up, 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 down, back for 1, 2, 3, back another one, 1, 2, 3.
And whenever you have the opportunity to look out and use your arms, remember the wrists. Elegance.
Beautiful, guys.
I'm very grateful that I participated in these online sessions. They were really fun. I really did enjoy them and I learned a lot. My favorite were the masterclass sessions.
Really
wonderful to be here with you all. And our hands are painting this wall. So our hand is the brush, both of them. And these are the beautiful flexible bristles. So we're going to do this really lovely and slowly, and we're going to use the breath to infuse the movement. If you have the tighter reins on the E string, it'll complain and start squeaking and go and sound horrible. So nice loose reins and lots of kind of, lots of flying here, kind of shiny, and A string is something in between. I think the only thing I would say is that you can actually have a slightly more flexible wrist, possibly. And then it's like he's doing a little bit of blues or something, or bluegrass or something. I mean, it's jazzy. It's really cool. Particularly, what is interesting about this variation is that there's a kind of sense of it going against the 3-beat. Yeah, so it doesn't really feel like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, so you don't have a strong beat on every bar, do you? You have this kind of sense of it going against it. So you have yum bum party, yum bum party. Yeah, and so what I would actually consider doing is.
I've really enjoyed being a part of the Baroque sessions. They've been really fun, really informative, and jam-packed with energy.
There's complaints about the quality of the gut. The strings are, I ordered a batch of strings, and again they're bad quality, and again they break like there's no tomorrow. And we even have, there's a lovely picture which depicts an orchestra playing, and you can see a violin underneath one of the chairs. So that was the extra violin that was there to be played when whoever's string breaks first, gets to play the extra violin.
I think we should start doing that with the extra violins sitting around the place. I think that's
absolutely
better than having to put a new string on during the concert.
Absolutely.
From the outside, it's a bit like the TARDIS. From the outside, it looks quite small. It looks like, we're only talking about a small area of music, and there seem to be a lot of rules, and maybe it's about not expressing yourself, but just getting things right and stuff. And then from the inside, again from the TARDIS, you think, actually, it's not that at all. Actually, the more you go into it, you realise that one thing leads to another, and actually that in terms of human emotion and human expression, clearly they had the whole range in the 17th and 18th century.
We know what sounds and feels right. I mean, for me, you wouldn't play Vivaldi in the same way you play Bach. You just wouldn't. I mean, even if the same kind of notes would come, it just feels different. It's an academically different thing. It's a physically, emotionally different thing. So whether you read a treatise or you learned specifically that you should play a certain way in one style or another, it just would feel different. And I think all of the things that we learn in historical performance, it boils down to how it feels and what feels right.
We have some things that we do know. We know, for example, that Corelli's audition piece for his orchestra was to hold a double stop for, and there's different descriptions, but there's one that describes up to 30 seconds. So what does that tell you? That tells you that he wanted slow bow. He wanted control of the bow, control of the slow bow. And he wanted a full sound, because to hold a double stop with a very slow bow gives you good contact with the string. So that's what he wanted.
The idea that we're all connected almost dramatically by these things which are inherent to us as human beings and give our lives meaning, almost cross all of these cultural boundaries. having said all that about the rules of rugby and etiquette and that kind of stuff, there's stuff that we have in common, and that's so important. And dramatizing those things, the dialogue that we have with fellow human beings. We're pack animals. We're not lone wolves. We work best in in dialogue with other people.
With the same work, you can have a totally different understanding of it depending on the personality of the person playing or the group playing. So I think that's what's interesting. That brings me with jazz with it too, because you can hear, especially someone else's tune, like someone's interpretation of someone else's work in jazz. That's what it feels like for me with this.
I totally agree in terms of the acceptable parameters of how diverse that interpretation can be.
Yeah.
It's certainly the most inventive I've ever felt playing.
I live in Melbourne, Australia. I loved listening and learning about the different variations of La Folia.
I enjoyed learning La Folia because I loved seeing all the parts coming together.
This brand new arrangement of La Folia was put together by the Ayoub Sisters for 16 different parts, from introductory to advanced level, and is performed here by over 850 people from 55 countries aged 3 to 81.
Thank you for helping us play La Folia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's the most enjoyable and the most exciting. I want more of these sessions.
Gurevich Mahagwave.
Hola, saludos de la República Dominicana. Thank you, Nikki Benedetti and the Benedetti Foundation for this amazing experience with Baroque music. Thank you, ciao.
Daughter lady. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Terima kasih.
Thank you so much.
And Adrian in the Benedetti Foundation. Happy birthday!